Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Afika binti Norizam and my metric number is 2015792. Today, I and my friend Aisha will discuss about the issue that we pick, which is AURAH and ZINA. Islam has outlined some guidelines, especially on women to keep their AURAH from getting stuck in the valley of adultery for the safety and happiness of their lives in this world and the hereafter. The issue of AURAH is still prevalent no matter where it is, including in the Islamic countries. The law of this AURAH is obligatory on all Muslims to prevent the bad things from the happening and to be able to maintain their self-esteem. The issue of AURAH also occurs in the other Islamic countries such as in the Turkey, Palestine, and so on. There are a few countries that do not allow their people to cover their AURAH, and so this is clearly shows that the issue of AURAH is still underestimated by Muslims. An example can be taken from the issue of the Uyghur people who have been oppressed by religious practices. The issues has been going on for a long time, but is becoming more widespread in 2018. These people are not allowed to fast in the month of Ramadan and are even forced to remove their hijab. Apart of that, in Malaysia, there are also many Muslims who do not cover their AURAH completely, regardless of whether they are a man or woman. There are also jobs that restrict women to cover their private parts, such as a stewardess, a handful of hotels, and so on. Nowadays, most Muslims women cover their AURAH, but it is not perfect like wearing a hijab, but showing the neck and not covering up to the chest. Here we can see that today's fashion has made Muslims not cover their AURAH perfectly. As a Muslim, we need to know the limits in the fashion. This has led to various criminal cases such as rape, entertaining, and so on. So, because of that, God told His servants to cover their private parts and maintain their self-respect. Indeed, Allah SWT commands Muslims to cover their AURAH to preserve dignity and honor and prevent them from the evil and the sin. Based on Quranic verse, the meaning is and tell the believing women to lower their gaze and guard their chastity and not to reveal their adornments except what normally appears. Let them draw their veils over their chests and not reveal their hidden adornments except to their husbands, their fathers-in-law, their sons, their stepsons, their brothers' sons, and sisters' sons, their fellow women, those born women in their possession, male attendants with no desire or children. Who are still unaware of women's nakedness, let them not storm their feet, drawing attention to their hidden adornment. Turn to Allah in repentance altogether, O believers, so that you may be successful. It is based on Surah An-Nur ayah 31. So, based on this ayah, we know that Allah called His servant to cover their AURAH properly. I will explain the method based on the Quran, Hadith, and the nature to assist people to cover their AURAH. Alright. Firstly, from the Quran, the solution to assist people for cover their AURAH is we as a Muslim must show or give them a motivation based on ourselves. Use social media to spread the motivation to people. Example, show the beauty in covering AURAH because all women want to be beautiful. Make a video or live and post in the social media about the benefits of covering the AURAH, how to cover the AURAH properly for a Muslim, and so on. In addition, we can also teach them how to wear the fashionable hijab to attract their interest to slowly wear the hijab, but must be reminded the wearing the hijab should be intention because of the Allah. This will attract people to cover the AURAH because nowadays there are a various fashion of hijabs or clothes that are interesting instead of clothes that do not cover the AURAH only, which is beautiful. We must always tell them that the cloth worn must not show the body shape. Don't dress clothes such as a body fit. Tight clothing is still illegal. Even is outwardly it has covered the AURAH. This is because the body shape is the AURAH that needs to be taken care of. Likewise, clothing that is too patent or colorful, which has an appeal to the gaze or attention of a non-stranger to look at it. Based on Quranic verse, O children of Adam, we have provided for you clothing to cover your nakedness and as adornment. However, the best clothing is righteousness. This is one of the Allah bounties to perhaps you will be mindful. Based on Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 26. So, this ayah show that Allah call Muslim to cover their aura properly. Can use anything fashionable clothes but must follow the Islamic guidelines. Secondly, the method that we can do is increasing social media content with the issue of regarding the aura. In this day and age, people use social media more than in the daily life. Therefore, influencers, ustaz and ustazah need to increase the number of videos about the religion, such as the issue of the covering the aura. For example, by holding online forums, religious talk, and so on about the Aurat. This can provide benefits and reminds Muslims out there about the Aurat. Aurat is obligatory on all Muslims, so all Muslims must cover their Aurat in the religious ceremony. It should be explained more about the effect of not covering the aura, the reward that will be obtained later, and so on. This can be taken as a lesson by all who is listening. So, with many more religious talks after this can give warnings and advice to Muslims out there to cover their awrat perfectly according to the Islamic guidelines. Based on Surah Al-Ash, verse 3, admonish one another to obey the truth and exhort one another to preserve in the patient. It means we as a Muslim must remember each other about covering the aura. Maybe with this solution or way, we as a Muslim can guide them who not cover their aura properly to become a better one in the next day, inshallah. We need to find a good friend. A good friend is a friend who constantly rebukes the mistakes we make and reminds us of sin and rewards. A friend is a very impactful individual in life because whatever our friend does will definitely have an impact on ourselves. So look for a friend who covers his aura completely so that we can follow him to cover his aura. At the first, it may be in a forced situation, but eventually we'll get used to and are very comfortable with covering the aura. Surrounding that covers the aura can also have the effect of transforming oneself for the better one. Therefore, we need to find a friend who can guide and reprimand about aura and all the mistakes that we have made. Based on hadith narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet ﷺ said, a man who follows the religion of his friend, so each one should consider whom he makes his friend. Great for this hadith is Hassan. So, from this hadith, we can choose who we want to be a friend. So we must find the best friends so that they can help you in dunya and akhirah also. This issue of aura can be resolved if we look at the tree. Trees should be maintained as a park where there is a sun, watering the plants at the appointed time, the fertilizer and so on to preserve the protect tree to be flourish and bloom beautifully. It is similarly with the aura. If we cover the aura perfectly, we can take care of our self-esteem well and people around will see. People around also see the beauty in us when we take care of the aura perfectly. The issue of aura is not a trivial matter, but it is a very serious issue because if you do not do it, you will get a big sin. Humans in this era, majors do not care about this issue of aura. So we as a Muslim who studied the theology and know the law of covering aura, we must bring together and do something to attract them to cover their aura properly. We can use whether sources from the Quran, Hadith, or whether the nature to solve this issue. So I think that's all from me regarding the issue of aura. I really hope that all of you out there can take a moral about what I had shared before. I will pass to Aisha for continuing this discussion about another issue, which is ZINA. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Aisyah binti Salimi. So today I would like to present about the second issue that we have choose, which is adultery or zina. As for the introduction, adultery or zina is an act of having illegal sex intercourse before marriage, and it is regarded as a crime. In Islam, we as Muslim is forbidden to do any illegal sex intercourse before marriage, and it is very sinful. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala also has written in Quran that said, "And do not approach unlawful sexual intercourse. Indeed, it is very immoral and evil as a way." In Surah Al-Isra, verse 32. In addition, we can see a lot of people today in the news or in the newspapers which are Muslims itself committing the adultery. How can this happen? We should take an action and realize that this is very sickening and we need to stop it from getting worse. Therefore, this issue also provides a severe damage to the ummah and the society today that we need to start taking an action. Furthermore, from this adultery issue, it will lead to many more social problems such as having an illegitimate child, illegal pregnancy, illegal abortion, and it will also cause a disease like AIDS. So here are the statistics that I have collected from the internet about the recent in 2019 to 2020 about the illegitimate child that has been produced during those years. Okay. According to birth registration statistics, a total of 25,567 illegitimate children were registered with the NRD since 2019. So this is the statistic about the number of illegitimate child that have been getting increased in our country. Okay, so all in all, we are here to discuss about this issue that concerning us, and we are going to find the solutions from the Quran, Hadith, and nature. First and foremost, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has stated some solutions and guidance for us Muslim in the Quran, which is related to this issue in Surah An-Nur, verse 30, that Allah asks men and women to lower their gaze, and this may help them to avoid from any harmful deeds or munkar and zina. In Surah An-Nur, verse 30, Allah has said that, "O Prophet, tell the believing men to lower their gaze and guard their chastity. That is purer for them. Surely Allah is all aware of what they do." Surah An-Nur, verse 30. From this surah, we know that Allah has asked us, men and women, Muslims, to lower our gaze, and it will be very helpful in order to avoid any munkar and zina. Besides that, Allah also asks us, men and women as Muslims, to fully cover our aurah, so that by covering our aurah, it will avoid us from doing any munkar. Okay, so how should we apply these solutions in our society today? First of all, men and women should know their limit in building a relationship or friendship with different genders. So, we should control and limit ourselves about ikhtilat, whether in real life or online. Furthermore, we can also apply these solutions by establishing Usrah society in the universities among the students. We can run a lot of programs that related to this issue, such as pay a visit to Rumah Harapan, or doing campaign to fully cover your aurah on the streets, and other programs that related to bring us closer to Islam and Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So, by establishing this Usrah society among the students in universities, we can exchange thoughts together. We can also fill in our leisure time with beneficial activities and programs so that we are avoided from zina and munkar. To be specific, there is also a hadith that is quoted by Bukhari and Muslim. Rasulullah SAW said that if a man is afford to get married, please do so, or else just fasting, because it can control your lust and desires. So, what we can get from this hadith is the solutions that Rasulullah SAW suggests us is to get married if you are afford to do so. But if you can't afford to get married, just fasting. It will be good and beneficial to you in order to avoid from being drawn to your lusts and desires. However, not all people acknowledge about these hadiths, and maybe they haven't heard about this at all. We as a fellow Muslims should share and let others know about this hadith too, because it is a demand for us to convey every single knowledge that we have learned to others. Like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, convey from me even a single ayah, even a single verse. Hadith quoted by Bukhari. Besides, we can also post and share about Islamic and motivational quotes that convey these hadiths to the public. As we all know, teenagers nowadays mostly spend their time on the internet and social media, and I think that this might be the best solution for us to create awareness about zina. Not only that, we can also use graphic videos that also forward about this message as a content to preach to others about the solutions to avoid zina in social media. Moving on to the next point, there is also another hadith that stated about the punishment for those who commit adultery. This is very related to hudud punishment, which is written in the Quran, whether the adulterers, whether they are single or married, they still need to go through hudud punishment. As we all know, Malaysia has not fully established the hudud punishment as a law. However, Muslims should know that this is the ultimate punishment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written in the Quran and hadith that we should follow. But our society got influenced with the Western ideologies and make the law and the constitution following the Western countries and not following the Quran solely. Aside from that, we should beware also with the fitnah akhir zaman that comes from women. There is also another hadith that quoted by Abu Sa'id Al-Khudri radhiyallahu anhu. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Be careful with the life and the fitnah from women. Indeed, the earliest fitnah among Bani Israel is from women." Hadith quoted by Bukhari and Muslim. So, hadith above said that Muslim, especially men, need to have taqwa and be careful with women and protect yourself from ikhtilat between men and women to avoid fitnah. In order to avoid adultery, men should know their limit on a relationship or friendship, whether it is between the colleagues in the workplace. Okay? Women are naturally very attractive and it can be the fitnah. So we should lower our gaze, cover our aura and control our ikhtilat in order to avoid fitnah. Last but not least, we can find the best solution in order to fix this issue by nature, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the nature for us to reflect and to appreciate the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in creating those natures. We can also relate to this analogy, which is about a river which is very dirty, that caused by the authority who does not even care about the cleanliness, while other people keep throwing trashes into the river and take it lightly about the cleanliness of the river. So, likewise, the adulterers that commit adultery we need to investigate why they commit the adultery, why does this thing happen to them. As we all know, mostly teenagers that being drawn into the adultery is those who doesn't get enough affection and attention from their friends, family and the surroundings. So it is similarly to the case of the river. Usually teenagers that don't get enough affection and attention from their parents and friends or surroundings tend to seek love from the wrong person, and that leads to zina. So what should we do to help those with this kind of social problems? In terms of the dirty river, we need to start taking care of the cleanliness of the water first, and then cure the contaminated water that is affected by the trash. Similarly to the adulterers that has committed the adultery, we should approach and befriend them first. We should create a new surrounding, a new circle with them, so that we can cure them mentally, spiritually and emotionally by asking them to join USRAH together and do a lot of Islamic activities together. By doing this, we can help and give them the affection and the attention that they need in order to cure for their loneliness. And we also can fill in the rohani part by joining the tadabbur Al-Quran together, or sharing session about hadith and other programs too.